Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Sprue, a miniature painting and scale model hobbying channel where we'll go beyond the Sprue and get every miniature and model painted. Today we're going to tackle the Xenomorphs from Gale Force 9's Another Glorious Day in the Corps, which is a tactical board game set in the world of aliens. Much more than the Marines from last week, these Xenomorphs require a lot of work to get built. There's 16 of them across 4 sprues of black plastic, so put on a movie and get to work. The sculpts are fantastic once completed, and each of the arms and tails are interchangeable, so you can make it so there's no identical models. But speaking of the tails, I had to use a CA or super glue in order to get them to attach and cure in place quickly. I found that the pieces didn't mate very well, but with some finesse and a lot of concentration, I got them together. The detail on the models is great, and honestly, if you played with them unpainted, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But that's not what we're doing here. First of all, we're going to prime the miniatures black. Yes, we're going to paint the black miniatures black. I'm using this Krylon Color Master flat black paint and primer combo. It's dirt cheap, and you can find it at any of your local DIY stores for less than $5. Oh look, no difference. All joking aside, having the aliens mounted all together for priming means it goes quickly, and you save a bit of paint in the can as some of the overspray goes onto the models instead of being completely wasted into the air. Once this is fully cured, overnight, we're going to do a dry brush layer. I'll be mixing Slanesh Grey and Storm Vermin Fur. The reality is that you could use straight grey, or you could even use a bone color. As long as it's light and bright, you'll be fine. My choice of color is purely a stylistic choice to give a slight hue to the models. What we'll do is we'll load up the brush, a large, wide paintbrush, and then remove almost all of the paint onto a napkin. Then we're going to move the brush lightly across the aliens, trying to go against the grain of the details, so the paint will deposit on the raised edges of those details, and missing the shadowed recesses. This will instantly add some contrast to the Xenomorphs and make the models pop and the details stand out. Make sure you're going very lightly, especially on the tails, because they can break off very easily. Try to concentrate the paint on the head, shoulders, and forearms, so that when completed, the eye will naturally be drawn to those areas, which is where we would typically want to concentrate on. If you accidentally go too heavy on the paint, you can always correct it by applying some Nuln oil just all over, which will tone it back down again and leave a much more muted effect. Hey presto, they're all done and dried. And look, I only broke one of the tails off! I'll super glue it back on later. Now we're going to tackle the bases by using Lead Belcher from Citadel. And this is one of their base coat paints, so it gives great coverage in a single layer. At this point, you could dismount the minis to make accessing them a little easier, but either way you just want to paint the metallic bases whilst avoiding the feet. I'm using a size 3 brush, and I stipple and dab the paint on around the feet to make sure that I'm accurate, and then just slather it on the rest of the base. To make the bases look more realistic and add some tonal variety, it's time to crack out your collection of washes. Because I kept the aliens all one color, we're going to set them apart a little from each other by using different colors, which represents ambient lighting on the base. I've got a collection of Citadel washes that I feel will either match the tones of the game board, like Coelia Green Shade and Caribou Crimson, or ones that I just think will look nice and a little bit sci-fi-y, like Druchii Eye Violet and Drakenhof Nightshade. The technique here is to dab half the base with Nuln oil, then half the base with one of the other colors. Then I quickly rinse the brush in water and dab it onto a napkin so that it's still quite wet, but doesn't have an actual excess of water droplets on it. Then use this brush to blend the two colors, and it will also naturally wick away some of the excess wash, so there's not too much loaded onto the base. Now make sure you fix the tails back on. It's this one! And then paint your rim bases with a matte black color. I'm using a Abaddon black. This will tidy up the edges and give your miniatures a more finished and clean look. Once completely dried, we're going to use Tester's Dull Coat to protect the paint job from handling during play. This is a lacquer-based spray, so make sure you do this outside because it smells terrible and you don't want to breathe this stuff in. And there you have it. Really quick and clean looking Xenomorphs, ready to take over Hadley's Hope. Here's what they'll look like up against our heroes from the game. I'm very happy with how they've turned out, and very, very happy with the look of everything painted together on a table. There's nothing more satisfying than playing with painted miniatures. Thank you so much for stopping by, and please subscribe, like, and share the video if you know anyone that would be interested in. Feel free to follow on Twitter and Instagram for other projects, works in progress, and updates, and have a good one.